Hi guys, story recaps here. I am going to explain a 2012 supernatural horror film called The Lord of Salem. Please try to like or dislike the video, it is important to us. We witness a man writing about 7 witches at the start of the movie. In Salem's forest, they worship the devil. He intends to murder them. Those 7 witches are performing a ritual. Their goal is to create devils from Salem's ladies. Margaret Morgan was the worst of these 7 witches. Then we see that it's Monday and that we're presenting a girl named Heidi. She is the host of a radio station and has rented an apartment to live in. She goes outside to get the newspaper, but she has a feeling that someone is in room number 5. When room number 5 was left unoccupied for an extended period of time. She inquires if a new paying guest has arrived, but she receives no response. The door shuts. Heidi then goes for a walk with her dog. She inquires about the new tenant with the house owner, Lacey. As a result, she says that I failed to find a tenant. Heidi claims I saw someone barely 5 minutes ago. Lacey says I'll double check that room to clear up any doubt. She goes to inspect the room after Heidi has left, but it is locked. She returns. Heidi was driving home from the radio station late at night. She discovers a package at the reception that was sent to her. She had no idea where this package had come from. It has a sound recorder and is labeled the Lord's. She takes this package to her home. Herman, her coworker, is also with her. After returning home, Herman attempts to play the recorder but is unable to do so. However, when Heidi plays it, it instantly begins. This tape recorder had a deadly type of music. She begins to feel odd as soon as she hears it. Following that, we witness a scene from the year 1696. The same witches were taking a baby out of a woman's womb in this scene. They kidnap her baby, who is a regular human being. They murder the baby after seeing it. Herman switches down the music when he notices Heidi's condition. Heidi, she inquires, is she all right? Heidi says, I'm exhausted and want to sleep after hearing the music. Heidi goes to sleep, and Herman leaves. Heidi was walking to her room, and it appears like someone is following her. On Tuesday, a writer named Francis Mathies appears on Heidi's radio station. Satan Leston, he wrote a book. It was about the Salem witches. They play the recorder again, and this time Herman names it the Lords of Salem. Heidi begins to feel odd again when she plays this on her channel. Heidi mutes it, although it can still be heard. After that, their session comes to a close, and Francis inquires as to where this recorder came from. She says she is unaware of the situation. Francis visits his house and inquires about his interview with his wife. She claims that I taped the entire interview. Francis inquires, did you also record the music? Yes, she says. Francis is familiar with the term the Lords of Salem, but he had no memory of anything. Heidi arrives home and goes to her room. In the meantime, Lacey calls and introduces her to her sister. Sonny and Megan invite Heidi to join them. Heidi's dog is hungry, so she goes to her room first. A woman stands behind her while she feeds her dog, but Heidi is unaware. She then goes downstairs to greet them. There, she learns that Megan can read palms. She extends her hand to her. Megan instructs her to manage her thoughts. She gradually begins to speak to her in an impolite manner. She misbehaves with Heidi, who gets irritated and leaves. Heidi hears her dog's voice in the middle of the night. She decides to go watch it. She notices her dog standing in front of room number 5. She walks away with her dog. The door to room 5 automatically opens. Heidi enters, and the door closes on her. She notices a cross sign there. After seeing this, Heidi gets hypnotized. Behind her, dreadful beast is standing. Then there's the thing approaching from the front right now. It's like if someone is emerging from hell. As the door opens, Heidi steps outside. There, she sees Margaret Morgan. She wants to have children from Heidi. Heidi opens her jaw, realizes it was all a dream, and falls asleep again. On Wednesday, Heidi takes her dog for a walk. She walks into a church. There, Father speaks to her and then begins misbehaving with her. He claims that no one can help you. Her eyes open, and Father informs her that she was sleeping here. She goes outdoors and takes a seat. Then she notices a weird man approaching her. He also has a goat. Suddenly, he vanishes as well. After much searching, Francis discovers a book by Jonathan Hawthorne. It is made up of 5 written pages. In this, Jonathan referred to the 7 witches as the Lord of Salem. It was recorded that Jonathan caught them on September 27, 1696. Margaret admitted to worshipping the devil as well. They were set on fire. There were some music notes at the end of the book. These notes were played on the piano and were precisely the same as those discovered by Heidi. Then, on Thursday, Francis approaches the writer of that book and inquires about the diary. Which he responds, "I don't have that diary, but I've read it all." Francis inquires whether there is anything missing from this book that you did not read. Then he explains about Margaret's situation. When Margaret was being burned, she demanded that newborn daughters of Salem's daughters be killed. They will also give birth to the devil. Heidi informs Herman that whenever she hears the music, she gets a strange feeling. Heidi then coughs and blood pours from her mouth. Herman is terrified and instantly dials an ambulance. Then Heidi notices several weird persons standing behind Herman. When one of those men touches Herman, he dies. They then kidnap Heidi and operate on her. They cut their tummy and extract an insect-like thing from her stomach. She then wakes up again. She couldn't figure out what was going on or what was right and wrong. Her mental powers were also hampering. She begins to use drugs in order to get rid of all of this. Someone comes to her door on Friday, while she is taking medications. Those 3 sisters were standing there when she went to check. She welcomes them inside. Francis, on the other hand, is conducting study on Heidi. Here, he learns the true name of Heidi, which is Adelheid Elizabeth. After doing some investigation, he discovers she is also one of the recruited females in Jonathan's situation. He instantly dials Heidi, but Megan answers. She hangs up the phone, claiming that the number was dialed incorrectly. Heidi is unconscious, and the 3 sisters are taking her to room number 5. Lacey paints the identical symbol on the door that was drawn on the faces of witches. Apart from that, this sign was likewise on that recorder. This sign was also included in Jonathan's diary. They 3 pray as they approach the door, and the door opens. They brought Heidi into the room. The interior of the room is shown here. It was not the same as what we had seen previously. This was now a palace, and a weird monster stood directly in front of Heidi. Heidi approaches it carefully. Her expression has completely transformed. A mark appears on her forehead that is identical to the mark on the witch's forehead. Heidi approaches the monster, and 2 tentacles emerge from his body. Heidi grabs them right away. Following that, the door opens and Heidi exits in normal condition. When they see Heidi, they are both overjoyed and force her to sleep in her room. Surprisingly, that monster was also standing next to Heidi. After this, Herman calls Heidi but she doesn't remember anything. He says there's a show on our channel tonight, that we need to meet before. Heidi, on the other hand, refuses and disconnects the phone. Lacey is with Heidi, and she is always keeping an eye on her. Francis then arrives at Heidi's house to meet her. Lacey was written on the door. She claims that Heidi is not at home, yet she was present. Lacey invites him in to wait for Heidi. These 3 sisters begin interrogating him there. Francis informs them that I met Heidi on the radio. He claims I also heard a recording of the Lords of Salem. I have some crucial news to share with Heidi. Things only get worse from here. Lacey misbehaves with Francis, yet he is unconcerned. The situation is serious. Sonny strikes his head with a pen when he gets up to go back. He trips and falls. She continues to attack him with that pen until he dies. At night, Herman arrives to take Heidi to the concert, but those ladies have arrived. They also stop him. Herman, on the other hand, used to come here. He doesn't stop and walks right into her room. He knocks on Heidi's door, but Lacey comes after him. Heidi arrives outside before Lacey does anything, but Lacey tells her to tell Herman to wait for her outside. Heidi does as well. Herman is confused. He asks for Heidi, but she softly shuts the door. Then they both walk down the hall, leaving Heidi in the room, which closes by itself. Herman was outdoors, and we see those 3 sisters again on stage. They are pleading with the devil. Those 7 witches appear suddenly behind them. When such song is performed, the entire audience rushes to the stage. Heidi is in a strange world. All 7 witches were present, and they were executing a ritual on the unconscious Heidi. Heidi's kid, who is a demon, is born as a result of it. All the witches are overjoyed when they see him, and Heidi dies here. We see Heidi again, but this time she is in the form of a goddess. She's standing on a lot of dead women's bodies. Following then, news arrives that 32 women have died. While their bodies were present, Heidi's body was not. She had vanished. Margaret's trial succeeds here. The devil is also born, and the daughters of Salem are also killed. After giving birth to a demon, she was elevated to the status of goddess. She has now been transformed into a witch, and everyone will worship her. And the film ends here. Subscribe, and turn on the notification. You can also dislike, or like the video, to appreciate our hard work.